Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here, and it has been quite a while since I've recorded a video. Yeah, I want to say it's been, I think, 38 days since my last video, so it'll be 39 probably by the time this actually gets uploaded and whatnot. And even that video, the last one I did was, I think, like a month old before I even, like, uploaded it and stuff. So yeah, it's been quite a while since I've kind of done anything sort of booktube related. But as you might be able to see, I got a little bit of a change of scenery and stuff. I've reorganized my library recently. I mean, obviously, a lot of the old books in the Folio Societies are gonna like stay the same and whatnot, just because they are the best looking books I got and stuff. But I think I'm gonna start doing some videos on the other side of the room, I guess, with the other bookshelves. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word bookshelves or whatever. But yeah, as you can see, my fantasy section has disappeared. It's not gone 100%, but it's literally gone down to about 3 shelves ish over there. But we'll still be doing some fantasy here and there, so don't worry about that too much. But like I said, welcome back, or well, welcome for the first time if you are a new viewer. But in this video, we're going to be going over mostly what I'm going to be calling my October book haul. It's actually, I think, all the books that I've been sent by publishers and stuff, kind of like during September, October, and maybe some November and stuff. And actually, a lot of them I finished. I've done a couple reviews already, but I'm gonna have a whole slew of reviews sort of coming up soon. I'm hopefully, once I get in the swing of things, hopefully this time I everything kind of settled down and whatnot. I'm gonna try and do a review every Sunday or something. Was kind of the plan, but 2020 has just been off the rails for everyone, so hopefully going forward I have something of some sort of schedule. But let's just go ahead and get started. First up, we have Ken McNamara's Dragon's Teeth and Thunderstones, The Quest for the Meaning of Fossils. And this is all about sort of kind of the history of fossil collecting over time. And when I say over time, I mean literally like Homo sapien ancestors, Homo heidelbergensis and Homo erectus and stuff were probably collecting fossils. Neanderthals were also collecting fossils, just based on kind of the archaeological remains that have been uncovered and stuff. So that's actually really cool. And then it kind of goes, into kind of the more historical eras as well with humans and stuff. But it's kind of different seeing how different cultures view different types of fossils, different kinds of seashells, ammonites, things like that, and kind of interpret it in different ways. Dragon's Teeth is referring to kind of Chinese folklore and Chinese medicine, where dragon bones and dragon's teeth have been, well, I say, obviously dragon's teeth, but have been used in sort of traditional medicine for thousands of years. And Thunderstones kind of, in lots of different cultures, I mean, sort of vaguely been associated with different gods of thunder and stuff. Obviously, Thor comes to mind with Scandinavian stuff, but lots of different kind of local folk traditions and stuff with fossils is kind of shown throughout this book. Pretty cool. Review forthcoming for that one. Yeah, I don't know, this is gonna be the weirdest book haul ever, because I'm gonna try not to make it quite a wrap up. I haven't read quite every book, but I think the vast majority I have, so maybe I'll try and just keep it a little bit briefer. That way I don't know more to say if I ever do. I don't know, I've pretty much wrap-ups have just fallen by the wayside for whatever reason. But anyways, next up we got Philip and Alexander, Kings and Conquerors, by Adrian Goldsworthy. Adrian Goldsworthy is a prominent popular classical historian in the current era. He's got a lot of books on Rome. I think I got 2 or 3 other ones, In the Name of Rome. And I want to say I have another one somewhere, but I just said, I rearranged my library, and it used to be right there, and now I'm just ew. So anyways, oh, Kanai right there, Adrian. Ooh, see, kind of remember. It'll take me a couple months probably to remember every single book I have. Still is. I actually do have a review already up for this title, so I'll leave that there. But obviously, I really enjoyed this book because it's all about Philip and Alexander, whereas Philip, the second of Macedon, who kind of really laid the framework and the foundations for Alexander to kind of go on his conquest and stuff, he's usually kind of relegated to sort of as this awkward prologue or the introductory chapter and stuff, a lot of the times with Alexander. But Philip II really is the one who got Macedon kind of out from being sort of a backwater state, I guess, in kind of the Mediterranean world into like you know, the foremost power of that generation. So yeah, really enjoyed it. It definitely is a pretty meaty book, but like I said, I have leave the review up there. Really enjoyed it. Next up, we have Great Adaptations by Kenneth Catania. Star-nosed moles, electric eels, and other tales of evolution's mysteries solved. And this is all about sort of his first-hand experience dealing with scientific investigations on the living world. I think there's 5 animals, if I remember, that are like directly covered. We got the star-nosed moles, I think water shrews, electric eels, the tentacle snake, and the emerald wasp. I believe are the 5. Oh, plus earthworms, kind of a little bit. And he kind of deals with just sort of the different like research projects that he's done with these animals, like kind of learning how they behave or how they do certain things, or for example, like the star-nosed mole, what the actual, you know, that star appendage, you know, on their face and stuff, what it's actually like sort of used for and how it works and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. This will probably be in the next review. Hopefully it'll be up on Sunday. Next up, we got Ravenna, and this was just like, look at that cover. I don't know, I just really enjoy kind of like the late antique, kind of end of the Roman Empire, early medieval period, the mosaics and stuff. But this is by Judith Herron, author of Byzantium, as it says, but Capital of Empire, Crucible of Europe. A lot of people might not realize, but Rome was not necessarily the actual capital of the Roman Empire, especially during the second half, sort of the late Roman Empire. Milan actually, I think, was the capital for, you know, about like 10 minutes or something. But the court was moved to Ravenna for a generation or two. And it's just kind of really interesting seeing kind of the different sort of influences and stuff, because Rome sort of slipped into decay, while Ravenna kind of like took over being sort of like kind of the late antique model of like an urban city and stuff, at least through like the Ostrogothic wars and stuff. But really interesting. I think it's definitely late antiquity, kind of like, I guess a lot of books do cover the end of the Roman Empire, but they always just kind of concern themselves with sort of, you know, why did it fall or how did it fall, that sort of thing. And it's always just sort of that political military narrative and stuff. So it was definitely really cool seeing kind of a more or less, it definitely includes sort of that line of thought, but it's actually includes a lot of kind of cultural and social history as well. Definitely really cool. Definitely need to get a review going on that one. All right, and if you've made it this far into the I was about to say into the review, now into the book haul, be sure to give the video a like and subscribe, all that kind of cool stuff. If you want to support the channel, definitely check out my Etsy shop where I make stuff like that. Lots of cool different designs. Got lots of plans coming out for the next coming weeks and everything like that. It's been doing pretty good so far. Hope you guys help me out, make it like a nice decent side hustle and stuff. So thank you to everyone that's bought stuff so far. And on to the next book, and it's Thieves by Paul Cartledge, The Forgotten City of Ancient Greece. Paul Cartledge is a very prominent popular historian on the ancient Greek world, and when I saw Thebes is actually it's probably tied for like my favorite city-state of ancient Greece. I think Athens and Sparta, just hugely overrated for sure. I do have a review for this title, so I'll leave another link right there or somewhere over on that side. But yeah, Thebes, like I said, just definitely because they technically Medized during the Persian Wars, because, you know, they're fairly far north, kind of on the Boeotian plains and stuff. You know, they Medized, and then they pretty much never, almost like never recovered, you know, from that, like, kind of slight to the Greek world that they did and everything. But, like I said, Thebes actually has, like, a kind of a really rich mythology and cultural history and stuff. Definitely encourage anyone to read that. If all you've ever read is, like, Sparta and Athens and stuff, I think you'll really enjoy this. Plus, Epaminondas is probably my favorite Greek figure from the classical era. Definitely encourage you to learn more about him by reading this book. Next up, we got Understanding Bird Behavior by Wen-Fei Tong. I thought this one had really great illustrations and photographs. It's kind of got like a mix of both, plus a lot of charts and stuff. So you can see there's some illustrations, lots of good photographs, different things like that. And it's kind of broken into a couple different sections of sort of, you know, how do they, like, you know, nest or find, you know, places to live, that sort of thing, you know, mating, sexual selection, all that kind of cool stuff. And totally lost my train of thought there. But each section is broken down where almost every 2 pages or 4 pages is actually almost like a mini section. So you get kind of like a little blurb. you almost get like a vignette, I guess, with each little section where she focuses on one or two different species of birds and how they kind of compare and contrast as sort of examples, to kind of extrapolate into like kind of like the wider picture of, you know, the whole like, you know, avian like class and stuff. So I thought it was really cool. Plus there was one section pretty early on that really sold me, because it was all about the different finches and stuff that you can find in Maine. That was based on some like report in the 60s and stuff. Definitely lots of research kind of going in there, but also I did appreciate towards the end sort of like kind of the whole like citizen science stuff, where you can kind of participate and kind of like help out with different projects and things like that. All right, next up we got The War of the Poor by Eric Viard, and he's a pretty prominent French historian, I guess. I've never heard of him before this, but for medieval history, one of my favorite episodes, or I guess eras of medieval history, is the Peasants' Revolt of 1381. And this book is all about sort of the German counterpart to that, like a couple generations later, the German Peasants' Revolt. And I just didn't know too much about it, so I was kind of excited to get this one and just learn a little bit more about it. It's kind of an interesting book. As you can see, it's pretty small, and obviously not that many pages. It's pretty thin. So it's written more of like almost in a like kind of almost like a literary fiction style, but it's nonfiction. That makes any sense. And the prose still comes across really beautifully, even though it's translated from another language. So I think that's how you can kind of tell, you know, the original work must have been written really well if the translator can still kind of keep a lot of that sort of like color and everything carried over into the translation. So yeah, like I said, it's kind of like just a really nice read on a really terrible sort of event. Next up, we got Living by the Sword by Kristen Newshell, Weapons and Material Culture in France and Britain 600 to 1600. And I was like, you know, who just can't resist reading a book about medieval swords and that sort of thing. But I'm really into social and cultural histories, not just like, you know, like straight political narratives and stuff like that. So it's always kind of cool, like I said, just seeing kind of like material culture and stuff being the focus of a book. And since it's all about swords, it is kind of more obviously slanted towards the aristocracy and whatnot, just because the common person really, the average person really didn't like own swords even in the medieval period. That's kind of like, you know, I think we kind of get like that like trope just from like all the fantasy and all the stuff you see on TV and whatnot, but still really cool. I still have yet to finish this one, but it's on my TBR for the rest of before the end of the year, so hopefully I can finish this one up. All right, two more. We got Good Blood, A Doctor, a Donor, and the Incredible Breakthrough That Saved Millions of Babies by Julian Guthrie. And this is all about the RH disease, which for those who don't know, it's sort of it's a blood incompatibility essentially between a developing fetus in the womb and the mother. Depending on the parents' blood types, essentially the mother's body can essentially sort of reject the fetus if certain conditions are met and whatnot. And it's actually pretty easy to treat now. There is a cure for it, a medication that cures it pretty well. I say pretty well, it's like 99.999% effective or whatever. But obviously before the 60s and 70s when it was developed, no one really understood sort of what was going on until obviously this doctor kind of focused on it. But the donor is the man with the golden arm, and he has the Guinness World Record for the most like blood donations in a lifetime. And I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. It was like 1,200 or 1,400 donations of blood and stuff. And almost the majority of the early stages of this vaccine were created using his blood, because he just happened to have the perfect conditions to make sort of the right kind of vaccine for it. So I thought that was really cool. I got a full, better review of this one. I'll leave a link right there as well for this. And lastly, one of my favorites of the year, A Life on Our Planet, My Witness Statement and Vision for the Future by David Attenborough. As you can see, I really like David Attenborough. If you have seen the documentary on Netflix of the same name, A Life on Our Planet, this is sort of like the companion book towards it. So there is a lot of overlap between the two. Obviously, the book is able to expand on things a lot more. Essentially split into two halves. The first half is a lot about sort of kind of like a memoir-ish biography type thing of David's life kind of growing up to his like 93 or 94 years. I think he's 93 in the book and 94 in the film or something. But, and then the second half is sort of, you know, what is going to be happening, what the Earth is going to like kind of turn into if we keep on the same trajectory, and whatnot, and kind of, you know, how nihilistic that's going to be. And then so he does have a lot of kind of like potential suggestions that like kind of turn things around, and that sort of thing. So yeah, definitely really enjoyed this book. What is interesting is like at the beginning of each chapter, especially during the first half, he has like a couple different stats. I'll just show you. Right here, like 1937, world population 2.3 billion, carbon in atmosphere 280 parts per million, and then remaining wilderness 66%. And you just see like the wilderness drop as the years go by. So he's like kind of talking about his career and stuff, and how the population's going up and the carbon in the atmosphere is going up, and then obviously just like kind of the, you know, the wilderness of the world is like kind of disappearing. Well, not so it is kind of really poignant and kind of sad. But I definitely encourage everyone to at least watch the documentary, and if you feel so inclined, also read the book. Highly recommend that one. And as you can see, like I said, I really like David Attenborough. So there you have it. Those were the books that I picked up, I received in the month of October. So thank you to all the publishers that sent me different things during kind of like this like little time period and whatnot. Don't forget to check out my Instagram and Twitter. Definitely check out the Etsy shop, stuff like that. Thank you all for watching, and I think, is that everything? Did I actually hit it? Did I actually finish a review? Did I actually finish a video? I think, like I said, it's been like 2 months, so I'm super rusty, but I'll definitely kind of get back in the swing of things, get the hang of it. But anyways, whether you've been reading or not over the past couple months, going forward in 2021, always remember, read victoriously.